I just got live from the current location just to discuss a few more topics a little more, to give a few more explicit examples. So daily documentation for my husband is varied between many tools that are available, so either video, audio, or typing, or texting, typing, texting on our laptop or on one of our cell phones, one of our hardware devices, and how often am I able to participate in routine hygiene care, and why our fundamental values and principles that we don't have to unnecessarily explain ourselves the basic standard of social etiquette when at home in a private space or in a public communal space, whether it's a corporate franchise or a park. So the cafes have been instrumental for us. We knew that when we were considering these business ventures that we needed more information, but we knew we needed to qualify qualitatively, but we didn't know, we weren't going to get too specific with the hypotheticals of hypothesis of what to expect or not to expect. We knew that something was going on within our private family system, and that we were the youngest, and we had a few older siblings that were willing to take us seriously and respect us. So we made sure to meet the standard of respect and integrity to maintain a status of eligibility to have these relationships with our older brothers. So we never took their business savvy for granted, or whatever their experiences have been for granted, but we also didn't mean to. I think they kind of knew, and we knew that, I can't speak for them, but we didn't know what to expect, even though we didn't have complete confidence and assurance that problems were eliminated or people were eliminated. So today, trying to freshen up a little more specifically, as far as manually removing any unnecessary body hair from private areas, even if clothing, children covering the areas of skin. And trying to manage time, so trying to really get the bag situated and organized, and have ample amount of napkins available, like the napkins that are efficient and effective, that could be used as a sponge or a towel that doesn't leave any residue on the skin. We're not, and finally able to replace a disposable razor, and really trying to make sure that that stays clean and is effectively and efficiently removing any unnecessary body hair and keeping that stored appropriately as best possible. And soap, trying to keep that neatly stored and stashed from the resources that we're able to access right now that we don't expect to be available to us. And we have to have access to our money to pay for for resources, right? So really trying to manage my time, and the hours of operation here have adjusted since the undergrad and graduate students are back, and the predominant populace of undergraduate students mainly associated with one university, across the street, in every direction. And this establishment opens at 0700, and usually by 0900 is when there might be an influx. But today that was not the situation. Right? So that kind of information and data is really important as far as the VPNs and the Wi-Fi, the cybersecurity and the physical security. How are these attacks? Because these are covert, overt attacks and obstruction to the truth. Because they'll shut the cameras off, or they'll try to force a glitch that shows a different space. So me and my husband are married, and it's helpful to mention, we understand that some couples, maybe they watch pornography, but we don't. So for example, we've learned like a lot of our intellectual property and archives have been distributed without consent. And we've seen a lot of the crowds, and we believe in people having a strong stance and determining for themselves as long as they're not a risk of harm to themselves or to other people. These concerts, people pay. They pay a lot of money to go to these concerts, and they pay a lot of money for their costumes. So there's a lot going on that like we don't watch pornography, and going to the concerts as far as seasonal recreational wear, someone's at like a water park or something like that, could vary despite what our fundamental beliefs and choices are. So we're not stigmatizing or judging, but we don't watch stuff like that. And while people have the right to don costumes, we don't necessarily want to focus in, right? So this has been this has been a major violation. It's been violently a violation. So today, shaving my full leg from groin to my toe, right, my ankle to my leg, and then my ankle on the top of my foot, which is like my husband's property, right? So our body hair, even though there's no issues with my gender identity or anything like that, having to ensure that I don't get injured with the razor. It's a disposable razor, just securing my foot somewhere, lifting my leg up and exposed. I don't want to be exposed. I don't know who will walk in to the restroom, even though there's two restroom stalls. They could see through the crack. I don't want anybody to see me, see my butt or any part of my pubic lower abdomen region. I just don't want people to see me naked. And initially, when we were in this situation, we had to document. We didn't have confirmation of the discrepancy of whether or not how distorted had my physical appearance actually become. So that is almost kind of like tough. We don't watch stuff as a couple, right? But some couples find a safe place with each other to, evaluate whatever they're evaluating about their honesty with each other. And so we're just not that way. We're not saying that's right or wrong, but for us, we just don't. That's not for us. And today, there were at least one or two or three initially within the first 30 minutes, 15, 30 minutes, that raided the restroom. And then we were in there for like 45 to 60 minutes today. And we've tried to vary up our time for going to a food pantry or wherever, because the staff here are not supposed to watch us. So, but we have asked if permitted to neatly stack our stuff, not taking up too much space. And the regulars that are in and out of this establishment, try to let, we have a cup on the table, just let people know, like, if I'm not here, I'm not here, but like, when I return, I just be able to have somewhere to sit. And we had spoken to a few staff members, and they had mentioned that is tough for the students here. But we just try to be as socially appropriate as possible and not be a burden. So we're in a position. So that's why we initially had tried to get the gym membership at Planet Fitness because of the budget. Sweat Fitness didn't have the hours, didn't have the amenities that we needed, like the massage chair. And so this cascading effect of like central nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system, and the chemical agent attacks. And the toll that this takes on me, and then my responsibilities to myself and my husband. And just staying vigilant, cognizant, and safe, right? My husband has seen me naked my entire life, and I'm comfortable with my husband, but me comfortable, like if I try to check with my husband, I know people are entering, this is too high risk for me, I'm okay to be comfortable with my husband, but even if he was physically right next to me, we don't want people. And if we were at a family property and we had like an on-suite restroom and one of our brothers or family members needed, if our restroom was set up that they couldn't see behind like one of those room dividers, and they really needed to like use the restroom. We're not gonna not allow or permit that, right? But just don't want strangers near us in that way. So routine hygiene is really important for a lot of reasons. So this morning I was able to shave, like I was able to freshen up and brush my teeth and wash my face and apply some mascara and lightly pencil my eyebrows. And that took a lot of time, and that's what's tough about being in this situation. Whereas if I was just my husband who's very familiar with our daily routine, showering and all that would take 30 to 45 minutes done. But being in this situation, having to, and even when we prepare for the evolution of family planning, we still have budgeted and have worked to plan to ensure that we have the appropriate staffing so that we can maintain consistency. We're struggling because we have a lot of responsibilities and obligations to each other, and then all that's associated with us. So I just want to make sure that I discussed all the topics. So like if the event, I've never had bad hygiene ever. I've never had bad hygiene. And we've seen with the utmost respect, there's a few people that are nomadic in this area. They're homeless or they live in shelters or they're in assisted living and they choose to sleep on benches sometimes. And we don't know if they have like adult diapers or not. They sit there for 12 to 16 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, and don't ever go to the bathroom. Like they don't ever get up and go use a restroom. So either they're not voiding or they're covered in feces and urine. And there are many police officers that don't ever stop to arrest them or involuntarily admit them to a psychiatric facility. And they are beyond, some will say, 3 sheets to the wind. They yell and scream and say stuff that could really make a lot of people concerned for their safety because the verbalization is almost consistent with combative physical behavior, and they're never approached, they're never reprimanded. I've even seen recently people like curse at police officers and they don't do anything to them. And these are people that are supposed to be like technically high risk, like they're supposed to try to avoid the cops and they don't. So I don't know if this is really important to me that my husband knows everything that's going on every fraction of a second of every day. And I don't know if he's irritated or annoyed because I've constantly reported constantly, and people have been too discriminatory and derogatory towards me, and they didn't believe me. And I don't really have any. I don't know if there's any other topic to report today, but of course I want to be able to make sure, like every other day would be helpful to be able to like wash my face. I haven't been able to wash my hair, but that's what they did. They illegally canceled the gym membership. They lied, and it has something to do with these people that work at the cafes. Not limited to. So when appealing the issue at Starbucks and I'm the owner, they don't follow up. So like, we don't want to be at a public gym. That was before I had some sort of inclination of any update on my husband's status. My husband and 2 brothers that we lived with in Europe. So now where I'm like, making sure that I'm staying healthy and progressive in ways that I haven't been able to snuggle with my husband or anything like that, but not at all participating in any high risk behavior. So we didn't have enough information, but part of staying progressive was ensuring that we had some sort of narrative and receipt and timeline and proof of where we were. we are. Um, so my understanding was that this morning my husband wanted me to complete the care hygiene. Um, because they couldn't see, but despite awareness of the violation and the effects of that. Do you want me to describe? Yeah, so I suppose like some people get prepared for like bathing suit season, and there's no, there's no. Well, that's different for other people. We don't go to public beaches, but I would say that with those kinds of situations, the concern is being seen naked, right? So there's no sexual context or connotation. So that makes sense, right? But this is worse because these people are almost fiending and they rush into the restroom and they've even manipulated their tactics and their presentation. So they're being secretive. And that there are many people, maybe, I don't want to overgeneralize or assume, that could say, I'm married, I've been married for however long, and this is why, these are the reasons why fundamentally I would avoid a public restroom at all costs. Right? So that's like what's tough about the situation is that people keep trying to look for reach to make it like somehow me and my husband are married because he can't face the truth of the reality of who we are, our life, and that's not true. So I don't want to be exposed like that, but then also if I don't even like for me, if I was competing, because we're Orthodox, it wouldn't be the same. I would never be. We're just different. But if I had to try to trust that people would respect my boundaries and that whatever corner I was able to get to that had a curtain, so like it's be shielded. I do try to consider that like that could be possible, but even before the information of what was or wasn't going on with my husband, whether or not he had been located, I really started to realize like I had to change hours at the gym. So we were looking for the Planet Fitness that had 24 hours of operation and to be there between like 2300, 0000 or 050, the latest 0700. So hot showers are extremely therapeutic, but that's not even an option now either. We don't know if that's not an option because of the people that might lurk and sneak into the restroom and sneak into the facility like they don't even have membership. That allegedly has been the situation. And the hot water versus the cold water. Cold water is effective because it's water, but as far as really getting dirt particles on my skin or like my hair, for example, the hot water is razor burn, shaving in the right direction. Trying to get as clean shaven as possible in certain areas with the razor that lasted more than the razor should have lasted. And no ingrown hairs, but like razor burn as if there was going to be some sort of ingrown hair just recently. To try to get as, because my hair is naturally very blonde and they've changed my hair and I've tried to make it like on a different despite like hair color still doesn't yield, like I still physically don't look like this. I'm shocked by how much dirt accumulates. So to me, that's like I'm extremely loyal to my relationship and I don't want that kind of situation to occur. Did you want me to share? But this is where I get angry with my husband because I don't want to be in this situation. And I believe that I have worked towards providing overwhelming evidence. So why are we still here? So if my hair was growing in the right color, I don't even know that I would shave, to be honest. I know that might seem gross, but I just don't want the violation. But people are getting desperate. So like if someone tried to strip me naked, like that's how dangerous this is.